Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the episode. Hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with the entire series. You get 3 brand new interviews sent to you every single week, new and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists, discover the new ones, grab us at any of the usual spots. That includes Spotify, Apple Podcast, NPR, WFPK.org, Consequence, or of course right here on YouTube for the video versions. Anywhere you get your podcast from, you can subscribe to Kyle Meredith with. That's me, Kyle Meredith. Today, we're talking about the series The Big Cigar on Apple TV Plus. This is the incredibly true story of Hollywood Revolution meeting social revolution, a wild caper of Black Panther founder Huey Newton escaping from the FBI to Cuba with the assistance of famed producer Bert Schneider, and an impossibly elaborate plan involving a fake movie production that goes wrong every way it possibly can, and somehow it's all true, mostly. I'm going to be talking with Alessandro Nivola, Tiffany Boone, and PJ Byrne all about this series. We're going to be talking about really how it represents the Black Panthers. You know, for me, like, I knew stuff about the Black. I did not know their whole story. So we get to really hear the history, but also like starting the programs that they launched, which includes like the making sure kids have food to eat every morning at school. That came from the Black Panthers. We're going to be talking about embodying real characters, real people, what that meant playing around in the 70s and how what that offers a character. And also, of course, the heavy subjects that they talk about, race, but through the lens, a lot of times, of comedy. All of that and more as we talk about this Huey Newton biopic series called The Big Cigar on Apple TV Plus. It's Kyle Meredith with Alessandro Nivola, PJ Byrne, and Tiffany Boone.
Hi.
What's up, Kyle? How you doing?
I should say right off the bat, beautifully shot, outstanding acting. What an insane story that I had no clue about. Did you all know about the story beforehand? Had you heard this?
No,
No,
I had
I don't
no
think I know
idea.
this.
That's what I was like. Wait, what? What is going on? Also, I didn't know honestly a lot about the Black Panther movement. Obviously, I've heard of it, but I didn't know a lot about Huey P. Newton. So it was such a great journey to dive into all of this. Truly.
Yeah. And I've thought about that. Same thing. I think I knew a little bit about what the Black Panthers were and stood for, but seeing how this series kind of tells the history, I'd love to hear that from you all too, because I feel like there's a purpose to say this is what they were actually about. It was so much more. It's the programs, it's everything. Like in telling the story, what was that part?
The programs that still exist, by the way, when he was helping feed sort of inner city youth, the program that we have in California today, that lunch program that we feed 15 million students in California, is based on a program that Huey started for the Black Panthers in Oakland, which is like amazing to me. So you can see how these tentacles can grow, with big ideas in the civil rights movement, what have you. So it's like, I mean, he's left a mark.
Tiffany, did you know this story beforehand?
I didn't know like this particular story. I think maybe I had read the Playboy article about the Big Cigar, but I'm trying to think, like, when I read it, maybe I was like, is this even true? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I really didn't really dive into it. So getting to be a part of this and like learn more about it is just really interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like, I should hit the obvious question here, but telling Huey's story, like it is a bizarre story and it's entertaining. For you, why is it important to tell right now?
Yeah, I mean, I always think it's important to tell the stories of, people who made such a big change in how we got to where we are now, especially like if we can tell it with humanity, because I think, people know the name Huey P. Newton, they know the Black Panther Party. You might even know, more than that about the Panthers. And I felt like I knew a good amount, but by doing this show, I got to really like learn about the humanity of Huey and Gwen and Bobby Seale in a new way. And I think that's what's important. It's like, let's stop holding these people up on a pedestal and realize that they were real human beings that were affected by having to be the heads of these parties, and how can we move forward and make change without needing people to have so much pressure on them in that way and suffer because of it.
Right. I mean, it's the line, right? If an image becomes iconic, it's impossible to see the subject as anything else.
Yeah.
And I mean, and we see this all the time, even with present day celebrity, but it's eye-opening. Like, even I think for me at least, there was a correction of just the knowledge of what the Black Panther Party was, that perception that is there and how they've been remembered, the programs and everything else. I mean, I don't know what you can talk about with that, but it feels like there was a lot of purposes for this series, and it kind of shining the light on exactly the history of what the Black Panther Party was seemed to be one of them.
Yeah, I think that was part of it. I mean, I think there was a lot of propaganda around, and some that the Panthers used to their own advantage, and a lot that was put on them by the FBI and all these other forces that were trying to take them down to just make them a group of black men with guns. And they were so much more than that. At the center of what they really cared about was bettering their community, this community that had such social and economic inequality, right? And so I think if we can tell stories like this, and you can see Huey, fighting for these programs, fighting for the breakfast program, like out there with the children, it'll really show the humanity of these people and what their real intentions were.
Yeah. As I was taking my son to school today and knowing that he was going to get breakfast, that was my first thought. Like, there it is, right there in front of me. Alessandro, for you, like, so we have these are real people that you're playing. Fictionalized versions to a point, but these are real people. And sometimes I feel like you all get to be the comedy duo in the big heavy subjects. How did you want to play him?
Like Warren Beatty and Shampoo.
Boom. Boom.
Why is that?
I think Bert wanted to be Warren Beatty and Shampoo. I really think he sort of almost fashioned himself after Beatty. Beatty was kind of like, at that particular moment, he was the matinee idol. And he was like the coolest cat in town. And Bert, wanted to kind of be him. But then I think he fell in love with Huey Newton and decided that his life had another purpose.
Yeah. It's interesting watching you on there, because obviously you've got a lot of dialogue, but it feels like there's still a lot of silent acting that goes along with him, a lot of reacting with your eyes that's happening. Was that something you were going for?
It's hard to say. I somebody asked me about this before. Yeah. Interestingly, I mean, it is interesting that you're saying this, because it makes me try think back on the series now and wonder, like,
you should have been a silent matinee
was I just like giving like Rudy Valentino like?
Yeah. Why wasn't I live in 1919?
Was it the eyeliner that they put on me? I don't know.
God damn it.
I honestly don't really separate like reaction from speaking in performance. Like it's all kind of, if it's going well, like I'm not really noticing any of that. I just kind of stop thinking for a little while, and that's kind of the joy of it. But definitely listening as an actor is any actor who's been to acting 101 will tell you that it's a very important thing, and that to really hear people talking to you in those conversations, because I remember, especially as a young actor, when you're starting out, like you're so concentrated on what you're doing that you aren't able to just like relax and actually hear what people are really saying. You're just waiting for your cue or whatever. And that probably is one of the most important.
No, we talk. There's a
things
scene
that-
that we do where I literally like undress him, and we've talked about this before. How, at least for me, it's like, first of all, I like, Alessandro. I'm like, I love this man as a human, so it's that helped me like be in the scene when he tells me you're not my best friend anymore. But also, he's a superb actor, and I know what you're getting at. So when I'm undressing him, the lights are on in a gigantic way. There is a lot he's processing, and I am affecting him, even though he's not saying anything. I see him going through the journey, and I'm knowing what's working and not working, even though he's not really saying anything. And it's really crushing my mind, but helping me as an actor to get through the scene. And I say that was like one of the top 5 scenes I've ever got to do. And he's not saying a lot. He's really not. But he's saying a ton, if that makes sense.
I was going down my laundry list.
No, that's what I was like. So I gotta, and he wasn't even doing it. He was sending it out. This is the irony of all of it. It's so annoying.
Very annoying. It's very obvious and noticeable is what I was trying to say. All that happening, playing Gwen. A lot of times, especially when you're telling stories in the '60s, or, in the past, a lot of times women are used as props. These weren't bystanders. Gwen was not a bystander. How did you want to play her?
Yeah, I mean, it was really important to me to be able to show the nuance in who she was. I think we definitely don't know enough about the women who were the backbone of the Black Panther Party. And Gwen Fontaine in particular, like, she wasn't in front of the camera, like, ever. If somebody can find an interview of her, please send it to me, because I have not found one yet, right? And so it's important to show that there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women in the party that were doing the hard labor of the party, cooking, cleaning, raising children, making plans, running the party, doing meetings. Like, they were really doing a lot of the hard work for the party. So I hope by seeing Gwen and the other women that are included in the show that people get curious and want to learn more about these women.
Not having something like the interviews, like you were saying, as an actor, knowing that you're portraying a real person, does that make it harder, or does that sort of take the pressure off?
I think it's a little bit of both, because it's like someone like André, who is playing Huey, where there's like countless hours and hours of like interviews where people could probably go, he didn't move his hand like this, or he didn't say it like this. You know what I mean? Like, there's that pressure there. But for me, I'm like, well, she's still alive. Like, she could just watch this and be like, what's that? You know what I mean? So in some ways, because most people don't know who she is, it kind of takes the pressure off of me, because I could, fill in the blanks for myself. But at the same time, I really wanted to respect her and what I have learned about her. So, there's pros and cons to each, I think.
Yeah. And speaking of André, of course, I mean, give the man awards, getting lost in that performance as a scene partner. What was that experience?
I had so much respect for André before I even met him, and then getting to like watch him do this particular thing, because I think this is so different than anything any of us have ever even seen André do, I think. Just watching him, like, most of it, like, preparation, like, I've done plenty of preparation and we talk, but like, as soon as you say action and you're just sitting there watching André and listening to him, you're like, okay, I buy it. Like, I'm in. What I have to do? Oh yeah, say this line. Cool. Great. I said the line. Like, you know what I mean? To me, it's like the André show, and like, we're all just here to kind of support that. So I just feel honored that I got to, like, do this process with him.
Yeah. And I guess a lot about, it's about reacting in the moment. And it feels like a lot of this was, I don't know, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. You made it look easy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Was it easy? I don't know. But yeah, I think for us, we just wanted it to be really organic. So there's a lot of stuff that was like improvised, and that we just, we'd be like, can we just have a take where we can just do whatever we want to do? And just the relationship between the two of them was so important to us. So like, we really took our time to try to make it feel special and unique.
Yeah. Coming off of Hunters, which was set in the 70s, right? For you, I'm sure it's fun on top of it. It's fun being in periods, but did those periods lend anything to how you approach these characters, these type of characters?
Yeah, they're both set mostly in the 70s, right? And I kind of did them kind of back to back a little bit of time in between, I guess. For me, I just love the fashion of the time. So that's number one. Then the afro, the second you put an afro on me, I'm a whole different creature. Like, you can't tell me anything. But my approach to the two characters is just so different, you know what I mean? And so while they are in the same time period and they actually cared about very similar things and they were both mothers, I think I took a much gentler approach, I think, with Gwen. I think I wanted her to feel like she had an opportunity to be softer and more nurturing, and more quiet at a lot of moments, because she just has this quiet, like, you know, energy about her where she could just look at him and set something straight, you know? So, yeah, it's just always fun to play in the 70s and then get to play two different characters that I love. It's just great.
Yeah. Is there another era you'd want to play on top of this?
I did a play in college that was set in the Harlem Renaissance, and I wouldn't mind to do that again. I would like to do that.
That's funny. I was just talking with another actor, and they said the same. Not even about this series.
Oh, wow.
Shirley Robinson. She was like Harlem Renaissance.
Perfect.
Like,
Let's do it together then.
PJ, I also want to hit on, you know, because I think it's episode 3. Like, we see you go through all the emotions.
Yes.
Like, what was that experience?
Well, for a couple, there's two big things that I love about this. Obviously, this sharing the story with the world, and I didn't know a lot about Huey P. Newton and the Black Panthers and the Civil Rights Movement, so like sharing that with the world is important. But from an actor perspective, I like to show the totality of a human. So like his highs and lows, his happiness, his humor, his like depression, and all of that is such a great journey. And for me, I truly feel like the audience. So I wasn't here to help Huey P. Newton at first. I'm just here to help my buddies. Like, you gotta help this fucking. I'm like, all right, fuck you. I'm doing it for him. But when I'm exposed to Huey and the Civil Rights Movement and seeing all the loss and pain that he's gone through and friends that have died, you know, this is how things happen, and people can relate to like big ideas, and hopefully change is made where you're presented with a moment in your life where you're gonna have to do the right thing or not, and a lot is gonna be on the line. And Steve Blauner, you know, puts his life literally on the line, and his family and his business to do the right thing. And that's just being a human. So I love that part of it. Like, humans every day have to do the right thing. And these problems are going on all around us, all around the world. You know, and there's my favorite quotes is by, it's an old African proverb, but a friend of our family's is Senator Cory Booker. He says it all the time. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And you need a group of people to help a movement. So I was just glad to be a little piece in, you know, in a movement, if you will.
Right. And it's a big story. I'm glad you said all that, so I don't feel bad asking something completely trivial.
Please do. Please do.
Have you seen Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, and did you like it?
Of course.
Yeah. No, because I say that like I did like that movie, yes. But I thought that was a great joke. I say it. Yes, I say it. Oh, yeah. But I was like, I think this is hysterical that his character, because I fucking hated it. Sorry for cursing. Sorry for cursing, world.
Silly little moment, but I did want to.
No, I appreciate that moment, because that's the little magic, those little soup salt that makes things great. I appreciate that.
Yeah. You all, seriously, I loved your performances in this. This story it's important, but it's also so entertaining to watch. Congrats on everything about it. I hope everybody wins the awards, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk about it.
Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much, truly.
Thank you so much.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.